All right, guys, top of the morning. Happy January 8th. My hope is that every single person on this call and everybody that will see this recording is already feeling that their business and their life is ignited in 2025. We no longer, or we dismantle the belief of needing a resolution in order to have a life that we truly, truly are excited about. It's about having standards and holding true to those standards. And you guys, you will hear me echo that sentiment for the entire year. So my intention and my hope is that you guys feel excited about where you are. Your systems are in place, your standards are high, you're ready to go when you know exactly what you need to do in order to have productivity in your life as well as in your business. And so I'm stoked to be here. As always, Nikki, I have someone bring us out on the field, and this person sets the tone, sets the sentiment, and kind of shares what their thoughts are. It's like we're coming out of the tunnel onto the field for game day. And I'm going to turn the mic over to, let me see who I got here. Otis, I'm going to turn it over to you. And you guys, I want to encourage you to get your cameras on, be in this moment, be present. This is going to be a very, very powerful session. So Otis, I'm going to have you bring the group out on the field today.
First, send 11 light to you, Nikki. I know how hard it is out there, what you guys are dealing with, and you're an angel for taking in people and helping out. To the team, it is Wednesday, it's hump day. If you ain't started your week, I don't know what you're doing. Today is a good day because I remember Elias talking about Nikki sometime last year? Yeah, and I mean, we had a lot of people present, but like that, she woke something up in me that day, and so I'm very excited. That's why I'm tuned in today. You got any last minute? Get somebody on. Um, don't sleep, don't slander. Just keep pushing forward. You know what I mean? Just ride the momentum of the year. You're 8 days in. You know, how are you performing? Check the 8 days. Kenny made a good reference on, building up yourself, getting those wins out from last year, letting it go and starting fresh for this new year. So let's go, you guys. Let's go. Let's grow. That's the motto.
That's right, my man. And listen, I told you this on Monday. I told you this last week. You always have good contributions, but the words feel different this year. And not saying that I wasn't attached to the words last year. There's a different feeling. There's a different sentiment. There's a renowned sense of energy, of focus, of clarity, and what you were determined to accomplish in 2025. And I'm with it and I feel it, right? I feel like that energy is really, really contagious. And so you guys have either stepped up this year already, or you are already stacking up this 8 days with excuses, regrets, and not taking any type of action. Inaction is not going to serve your life, business, health, or relationships. And so if you're here, it shows me that you're ready and you're about that action. So you guys, I'm really excited to have Nikki here. And before I turn the mic over and just let her do her thing, and I sit here as a student, I want to share this with you because I have a responsibility, and we all have responsibilities as humans and as people that are making impacts in other people's lives. Be the reason someone finds strength when they feel like giving up. I promise you, there's somebody on this call. There's somebody in your life. There's somebody that's having challenges right now that you can be that light for that person. You can give them strength when they feel like giving up. And my hope is that maybe I've given each of you a little bit of strength or a little bit of encouragement at the times when maybe it was a little bit dark for you. And my hope is that through our interaction, through the interaction of this group, it helped you see a different path. Be the reason someone finds courage to take the first step forward. A listing presentation is scary. Your first buyer consultation is scary. Your first video that you post on social media, it's going to be scary. But my intention by these groups and other groups that we do is that you guys have the courage, and you borrow someone else's courage and you borrow someone else's confidence until it becomes your own. And last but not least, be the reason someone dares to dream beyond their limits, right? I feel that when we're in this environment, when we hear from people like Nikki, when you see the success that others are having around you, it allows you to shatter any limits that you have about yourself and what was possible. A lot of us didn't come from money, so we don't see it necessarily until someone says, you know what, here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity for you to grow, to live, to have the money that you've always desired to have and change your life, impact your parents' life, impact your family's life, put people on. So I'm going to challenge you guys, and I'm going to dare you all to dream. And I'm going to push you guys further than I've ever pushed you in 2025. And you have my 100% commitment on that. If you thought that I've been intense and I cared about you and I loved on you a lot, Good. Well, I'm going to give you a lot more of that in 2025 because I don't know about you. This is the year, as Vernon's been saying, that we take over, right? We take over. I'm stoked about our year as a company being number two, but number one would surely feel a whole heck of a lot better. It surely would feel a whole heck of a lot better. And so I appreciate you guys. I'm ready. I'm excited to go full tilt with you guys for the next, hour. Let me turn it over to Nikki. Here's why Nikki is here. I sat through a keynote in San Diego, in my hometown, and I'd never seen Nikki, and I was a fanboy, and she is part of Chet Black's environment, and I always saw her, and I just always had respect and admiration for her. And then I sat through a keynote, and I don't remember any other keynotes from that day. And Barry Habib was there, some other really powerful people in our industry. I don't remember them. I remember the way that I felt when she spoke, when she delivered her presentation. I believe it was about a tiger. Maybe it was a lion. It was one of the.
It was a lion.
It was a lion. Okay, I knew it was a big cat. But it was such a powerful, powerful message. Nikki's a coach. She is a leader. She is an inspiration. She is a mom. She is focused on her fitness. And when we were away, I think it was in Vegas, early in the morning, we're there for a conference. It's like 6 a.m. in the morning. All the people that weren't out drinking are in the gym. And I look over and it's Nikki, and she's got her baby belly, and she's in there. She must have been 6, 7 months pregnant, but she was in the gym with all of us doing her damn thing. And so, you guys, I am excited to have Nikki here. I've been a fan of you for many years, been watching your journey, love what you do, how you contribute to the industry. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to our very special guest, Nikki Miller, and I'm going to let you do your thing. Let me know if you need any share screen rights. But Nikki, the floor is all yours. Welcome to Keep It Moving Group Coaching.
I'm so grateful to be here. Yes, please do give me share screen rights. I'm super excited. It's an absolute honor. I know that the vetting process that Elias goes through in order to bring people here, and so I don't say it lightly. That it's an absolute honor to get to spend some time with all of you today. And I'll be honest, I had something planned. We'll talk a little bit about it. But if you've ever seen me present, I like to talk with you. I want this to be the most valuable session. I want you to get to the end of the year and say I didn't remember anybody else except for that session that we had with Nikki. Just like Elias said. So if it's all right with all of you, let's make this interactive. Let's have a little fun today. Let's not have this be the thing where you sit and listen to it in the background and sort of check the box that you were here, but you didn't actually do anything with it. If that's the case, just get off. Just don't waste your time. And if you're going to be here, get your camera on. As I tell my team, I never show up to meetings with a bag on my head. So I'd love if you didn't do that either. And let's actually be engaged today, because I'll tell you all how I started this. For those that weren't on already when we jumped on, I live in LA. It's a little bit apocalyptic here right now. I got people in my house. I'm not in my office right now because there's people in it. And I had every excuse. I got ready in the dark today. I was freaking out because I couldn't do my hair because I don't have any power. And I had every excuse to call Elias today and say, I'm out. I'm not going to do it. I'll pick a different day. And then I thought to myself, what kind of hypocrite would I be to get onto a session and tell everybody how to succeed and live their life and work through challenges if I didn't do it myself? Because if I really asked myself, was I able to do this today? The answer was, yeah, I can. Now shit might hit the fan. I might get an evacuation notice. My power might go out. So if I go off with no notice, that might be why. And yet I'm here because I chose to be, because I committed to be, because I said I would. And who are we if we're not the type of person who just does what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it? It's funny, I hear in business and sales, people talk a lot about building trust. And by the way, if you don't know what I do, I built a first of its kind real estate platform specifically designed for individual agents in the industry. I built that while everybody told me it was a terrible idea and would never work. I spent 3 years building that and then exited and sold that to a company called Ojo, Mavoto, if you've ever heard of them. They're the largest privately owned real estate search engine in the world. And they bought my company in March of 2024. what year is it? Yeah, 2024. And then we launched that and grew 10x from the size that we were previously. And that's what I've been doing with my time. So I spent a lot of time with individual agents, needless to say. And when you do that, when you coach thousands of agents like I have, you hear a lot of excuses about why things can't be done, why I couldn't do it. I couldn't do my hair that day. The sun wasn't shining. The wind wasn't just right. There were fires. There's all these things happening. And the fact of the matter is, there's always going to be things happening. In fact, sitting in my room right now, right behind my camera, is everybody who's staying at my house. And I said, you know what, guys, we're not going to wallow in self-pity. You're all going to come listen to this too, because we all need it. Because I bet every single one of them started this year exactly how you did and said, this is going to be the best year yet. By the way, how many of you rose your hand at the beginning of 2025 and said, this is going to be the best year I've ever had? I'm committed to this being the best year. This is going to be the best year I've ever had. No year is going to be like this year. And what did the world do to you? You started this year and something happened. Shit hit the fan. You got the right hook to the face. Something happened. Is that fair? Like, is that already happening? If it didn't, it will. So just buckle up, right? But I bet everybody who's sitting in my living room right now had the exact same experience that you did. And you all are going to be left with the same choice that they're left with. Do you still choose to have the best year yet? Or do you allow that thing, whatever it may be, to define your entire year? Is that going to be the name of this chapter for you? Could have had the best year yet, chose not to. Could have made it the best one ever, chose not to. Could have faced those challenges head on, chose not to. You get to decide. As I tell my team all the time, good news is you get to decide. Bad news is you get to decide. And so who would I be if in the face of all of these challenges, I didn't come here and say, yeah, life happening right now, all around me, all around all of us. And I still chose to be here. That's the choice I've made because that's who I am. My identity is that I am the type of person who does what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. Second principle I want to start with, before we even get into what we're talking about today, is a little lesson I learned. For those that don't know, I used to actually work for the NFL way back in the day, a lifetime ago. I was a sideline reporter for the NFL. Coolest job ever, but you don't get paid anything, and it's actually not as cool as everybody thinks it is. So I left that to do what I do now, and yet I got to do that, which was such a cool experience. And there used to be a principal that one of my favorite cameramen that I ever worked with used to tell me. His name was Ralph the camera guy. And everybody who thinks that's a super glamorous job quickly realizes that it's not. You're sitting around to be on screen for about 30 seconds a game, and you're sitting out in the freezing ass cold for like 4 hours during the game, freezing your tail off just to talk for 30 seconds. It's a great symbol for success, isn't it? How many of you are out there freezing your tail off right now just so you can talk for 30 seconds? And yet we'd be on these sidelines, I'd be freezing. And right before I would go on camera, Ralph always used to say to me, act like you want to be here. Act like you want to be here. In other words, what Ralph was saying is, I don't care that you're freezing your tail off. And the audience, by the way, doesn't care that you're freezing your tail off. They don't care that you can't feel your hands. They don't care that you forgot what you were going to say because your brain is addled from being below your natural body temperature for too long. They don't care. All they care about is that 30 seconds. So for that 30 seconds, you're going to show up and you're going to act like you want to be here. I'm telling y'all, life is going to give you that right hook, whether you like it or not. And you have a choice about how you're going to show up. And I would recommend that you act like you want to be here, even when it's hard, even when it's challenging, even when you don't want to be on that listing appointment at 6 o'clock at night because you'd rather be doing something else. Man, I get it. But act like you want to be here. And I'm going to act like I want to be here because I do. What a gift to be able to spend the time with you that I get to today. What a gift. I hope just one of you takes something that we talk about today and does in fact choose to have your best year yet. So if it's all right with you, that's what I'm going to give you today. A couple principles that you can use to have your best year yet. Does that sound fair? And by the way, let's make today interactive. Drop some stuff in the chat, unmute yourself and share. Hell, I don't care if you get to the end of this and tell Elias never bring that blonde lady back again. She was the worst. Just say something. Make sure.
I'm already planning our next session with you. So Yeah, you already have the invite for the next one. So let's take ourselves off mute really quick. Everybody feeling this so far? Energy good? We'll just do a quick vibe check. We good?
We good.
Good, yes.
Vibing
All
high,
right.
baby.
Let's
That's
go,
right.
baby.
I told you we're going to bring the heat this year, you guys. So good stuff. Let's buckle up. Great stuff, Nikki, so far.
All right, so let's talk about 8 ways to make 2025 your best year yet. And by the way, some of these are going to be principles that you're going to look at and you're going to be like, this lady's so full of it. I've heard this one before. Listen to me, because these are going to be different than how you've received them before. The first is, what's your plan? What is your plan? And by the way, I'm not talking about your business plan that you made in October and you shoved in a drawer and you're never going to look at again. I'm not talking about that plan. I'm talking about what is the plan that you're actually going to use in order to have your best year yet? Because here's what I know. So many of us start the year with these grand plans about how we're going to maximize your year, how we're going to do this, how we're going to do that. And my first question to anyone who tells me this is how I'm going to do better or have better or create better, what's your plan? What is your actual plan to do that? In other words, if you're on a fitness journey, that's the most popular one every year. If you're on a fitness journey, what's your plan? How are you actually going to change how you show up for your fitness? What's your plan to actually get into the shape that you want to get into? Because if you keep going about your year the same way that you've always gone about your other years, if you keep trying to go about this change the same way that you've gone about every other change, you're just going to keep getting the same results. And you're going to lie to yourself and tell yourself that it's because life happened or because business happened or the market happened or whatever it is. And by the way, those look a whole lot like excuses. And remember how we started today. You get to decide if this is going to be your best year yet. So what is your plan to have your best year yet? What are you going to do differently in order to have your best year yet? Which brings me to our next principle, which is your different list. This is far and away the most important thing that I do in my life. I want y'all to do this. I'm gonna Elias, please hold everybody accountable to sending this to you. Anybody on this call that you coach, please make sure that they give you their different list. And here's what this actually means. This surprises people often. I get asked at least once a week, what's your goal setting technique? And this time of year, everybody's, how do I set goals? How do I do it? How do I? Here's the fact of the matter. I don't actually set goals. That's super surprising for people to hear, but I don't. I only set a different list. And here's what I know. I'm not super goal oriented, not my vibe. I don't like it. It just makes me hungry. It makes me not ever turn off. It makes me the physical embodiment of the juggernaut. And that doesn't work for me. So what I do is I create behavioral change that's going to get me to where I want to go. And I call it my different list. Because if you show up as the same person, you will keep getting the same results. It doesn't matter if you say you want this goal. You have to become different in order to get different results. In other words, I'm asking you, who do you need to be in order for this to be the best year that you've ever had? Because here's what I know. Y'all know what's the percentage of lottery winners that go bankrupt? Y'all know that number? Anybody know the percentage of lottery winners that go bankrupt? Throw a guess out there.
100%.
70%.
Not 100%,
80%.
70%,
About
80%.
80%.
It's a little over 90%. Why do y'all think that is, by the way?
They didn't earn it.
They don't
They
have
didn't earn
a
it.
plan on what they're going to do with that money.
Habits.
They don't have a plan on what they're going to do with the money or
They're
with the money
frivolous.
habits. They're frivolous. All of that's true.
Habits.
They think
But
it's
I think
enough.
there's one. Yeah, they think it's enough. I think there's one defining thing. I think there's just one.
They don't know who they are with money. They don't know how to act when they have that money.
In other words, they didn't become the type of person that earns that money.
Exactly. Ooh.
You got to become the type of person who creates wealth. You have to become the type of person that gets the results that you want to get in your business. You have to become the type of person who says what they are going to do and then does it. So how do you need to be different in order to get different results? I would offer to you that if you don't set goals at all this year and you just draw a line in the sand and make a decision about how you are going to be different, you will have the best year that you've ever had. How do you need to show up differently in order to get different results? Do you need to stop making the excuses? Do you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself? Do you need to actually get an accountability partner that holds you accountable? Do you need to actually follow your schedule? Do you need to do less, but make it count more? I don't know what it's going to be for you, but I would challenge all of you today, tomorrow, or better yet, right now, write down how you need to be different this year in order to get different results. I love that, Elias. He said, eat better. And I would offer to all of you to get very clear on what that actually means. Get very clear on what that different actually means. For Elias, that might mean I need to make a plan to eat better. Not only do I need to actually eat better, but I need to make a plan to eat better. I'll tell y'all that I am like a 4-year-old in a hometown buffet if I don't have a meal plan for the week. If I get hungry, I'm going to go and I'm going to eat the burger and the pizza and a milkshake, and I'm going to follow that up with some candy because that's who I am. But I don't do that because I meal plan for the whole week. I don't have a choice. This is what's for dinner. This is what's for lunch. That's how I became different in order to prioritize my health, because I couldn't trust myself to make the smart eating decision in the moment, right? So what's your plan and how do you need to be different? I'll tell y'all, I coach thousands of agents. My organization is literally made up of hundreds of agents, and I have the privilege to coach a lot of them. And one of the number one things that I'll say, well, how do you need to be different this year? Oh, I just need to follow my schedule. I'm like, oh, you do? Do you just need to follow your schedule? You haven't been doing that for 10 years. You think you're going to start now? No, you're not. So let's figure out a better way. Is it that you don't need to follow a schedule at all? You just need to make a decision that you're not going to move on to anything else until your 10 contacts are done, or you're 20, or you're 30, or you're 40. Don't lie to yourself. Listen, y'all. I hear a lot of people lie to other people, but we got a problem when you start lying to you. So ask yourself, what needs to be different this year in order for you to get different results? Next, establish your set points. Establish your set points. This is far and away one of my most important techniques in order to not lose momentum. One of the most important and underrated aspects of success is momentum. One of the most important and underrated aspects of success is momentum. Now, by the way, how do we get momentum? Promise it's not a trick question. How do we get momentum?
Put the work in.
To move.
You gotta start
After taking action.
So you gotta do the thing. You gotta do the thing, and then you gotta do it again and again and again and again and again. And the funny thing about momentum is that you can't stop doing the thing. Right? Any of you like me, my husband's nickname for me is the juggernaut, because if I go, I'll just keep going and going and going and going. But if I stop, I lose all my momentum. In other words, if I have a bad day, it can take me backwards a week. Here's what it looks like. Again, I'll go back to the eating example. Thanks, Elias, for being vulnerable and sharing that, because I used to have the same thing. I have to make a meal plan, because if I have one bad meal, it turns into a bad week of meals, which turns into a bad month of meals. And then I'm not hitting any of my fitness goals. Because if I eat bad, I don't want to work out. And if I don't want to work out, I'm an asshole and nobody wants to be around me, right? And so I have to understand what my set points are. In other words, my set points are ways that I don't go backwards. I would offer to you that your set points are even more important than your goals. Your set points are even more important than your goals. It's how you prevent yourself from going backwards. Let me give you some examples. I have a set point that I work out for 30 minutes every single day. If I miss 2 of those days in a row, no excuse. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling. It doesn't matter if my kids have been sick. It doesn't matter if I've been sick. If I've missed 2 days of working out in a row, I have to do 100 push-ups. That's it. That's how I get out of the rhythm of not doing the thing. I have a set point, 2 days of working out in a row that I miss, I do 100 push-ups. That's the rule. If I have a set point of money in my bank account, if I hit that set point, i.e. if I hit this dollar amount, I can't go below that. And that means that shopping stops, frivolous spending stops, going to Starbucks stops, all of those things stop, right? So I can't go below this set point. I have a set point in my business. We call it, in our organization, we call it the 15th protocol. If you've hit this number or haven't hit this number, then all you're doing for the foreseeable future is lead generation. There's literally no other job. There is nothing that you can tell me is more important than you doing what you need to do in order to generate business for you and for your family. And so you're not doing anything else. You don't get to make a social media post. You don't get to tell me what marketing you need. You don't get to even talk to your current clients until you have made X many contacts that you are supposed to make. That is your set point. It's the way that we make sure that we don't go backward. Even more important than figuring out how you're going to go forward is how you make sure that you don't go backward. This is what prevents people from doing things like doing the great thing of losing a bunch of weight and then gaining it all back. You've been there, or you know somebody who's been there. And by the way, the business version of this is I have a great year in real estate and then I have a terrible year. I see this happen all the time in our world. Agents crush it and have their best year they've ever had, and then they get lazy and they don't do what they did in order to be successful in the first place. And then they're like, I don't know why I'm having such a bad year. I'm like, well, because you literally stopped lead generating. Why do you think? You stopped doing the things that made you successful in the first place. You didn't have any set points. So establish your set points. They're not the things that keep you going forward. They're the things that keep you from going backward. Even more important. Number 4, keep the schedule that needs to be kept. Just keep the schedule that needs to be kept. I'll tell all of you that some of you need to go to bed a little bit earlier so you can wake up a little bit earlier. Some of you just need to follow the couple hours in your day that actually matter. I don't know what it is for you, but you need to keep the schedule that needs to be kept. You need to keep the schedule that needs to be kept. So if that means that you don't get to watch an episode of your show at night, you don't get to watch the episode. You're going to survive. I promise. If you need to wake up a little bit earlier, you need to wake up a little bit earlier. But most importantly, you need to not get distracted and not waste the time blocks that you have in order to get to what you want. By the way, I would offer that you're only a couple hours different than the people who you admire. That's it. You're only a couple hours away from the people that you admire. That's it. The people who are doing what you want to do keep the schedule that needs to be kept. It's funny. I shared this, I think, at the conference I was at with Elias, and I always laugh when somebody says to me, people think that I wake up and drink gasoline and spit fire, and it's just not the truth. I'm not a morning person. Listen, y'all, I got 2 early birds as kids, and I think it's actually the world playing a joke on me because I'm not an early bird. I don't like the morning. I don't wake up easily, and yet that's the hand that I was dealt. I got kids that are up at 6 a.m. no later, no matter what. And so if I want to get what I need to get done before I hear the word mommy, that means that I'm up between 4:30 and 5. I got a house full of people right now who are staying with me, and guess what time I was still up? Between 4:30 and 5. Because if I'm going to be here and I'm going to show up as best as I can show up, and if I'm going to be who I want to be in order for you to have the most impactful session, I got to be up between 4:30 and 5. That's it. I just need to keep the schedule that needs to be kept. Because when I looked around at all of the people who were doing what I wanted to do, who had what I wanted to have, guess what time they were up? Between 4:30 and 5. So you keep the schedule that needs to be kept. And by the way, y'all, you can make every excuse. Believe me, I do it every morning. I fight this battle every day. I've been doing this for close to a decade, and I still fight this battle. Every morning, my head says, but it's so warm. It's so cozy in this bed. Don't get out. It's scary out there in the real world. You don't want to get out of this bed. And you just laugh to yourself and say, I'm the type of person who keeps the schedule that needs to be kept. By the way, if y'all haven't read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, I'm a huge follower of Stoic philosophy, and if you haven't read it, I recommend that you do. One of the things that stood out to me, that's right, Elias, the lion needs to hunt. And one of the things that stood out to me is that he talks about in his book, written thousands of years ago, the most powerful person in the world at the time, one of the most famous leaders and emperors of all time, talks about how hard it was for him to get out of bed. This isn't a new challenge for us, y'all. Everybody struggles with this. And the difference between who you are right now and who you want to be is, do you let the hard days win? Do you let the struggle dictate how you're going to show up in your day? I don't know. I don't know if you will. By the way, good news is you get to decide. Bad news is you get to decide. Number 5, set your routine. You set your routine and you do not waver from it, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Doesn't matter if you got people in your house. Doesn't matter if the apocalypse is happening around your house. Doesn't matter if you had a bad day. Doesn't matter if the market is bad. You set your routine and you do not waver from it. Elias talked about how he saw me in the gym with my big old pregnant belly. And by the way, let me tell y'all that was I love that he shared that story, because that happened to be a morning that I was having a really hard day. I didn't feel very well. I literally was 7 months pregnant and was in Vegas, which is the worst place in the world to be 7 months pregnant. And I was super tired. I was having some business problems that I really didn't want to have. And the worst of all, I forgot a workout shirt that would fit me. And so I literally had to work out in my sports bra and my pants with my big old belly hanging out. And I was like, you know what? This is the routine. I said I would be here, and I'm going to be here. I didn't feel comfortable. Frankly, I was a little embarrassed. I didn't want to do it. But guess where I was? Because I said I would be there, and that's the routine. Listen, y'all, we got every excuse not to do the thing. You have every excuse to break the routine. And the difference between who you are and who you want to be will be whether you choose to do that or not. So make a decision about what that routine needs to be. And by the way, please don't follow some bullshit like the miracle morning. You don't need a 15-step morning routine. Nobody does that. I don't know anybody successful who actually does that. You need a couple minutes that you protect in the morning and at night that protect your time. That's what you need to do. Everybody asks me, what's your morning routine? I'm like, it's not nearly as important as my night routine. Set yourself up for success and then capture your couple minutes a day. They're going to set you up for your best day and your best life. And by the way, you keep doing that day after day after day after day. Guess what? You look up at the end of the year and you've had your best year you've ever had. No judgment, by the way, if you do the miracle morning. If you actually do it and it works for you, that's awesome. I love that. Keep doing that. I don't have like an hour in the morning. I just don't. I don't have that kind of time. I wish I did. I got 15 minutes to do what I need to do. And so I'm going to make it count, right? Make a decision about what sets you up for the best day that you're going to have, and don't miss it ever, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, no matter what. Number 6 is a day one mentality. A day one mentality. Listen, y'all, there's a lot of things that I've learned from really successful people who've built really amazing things, but none of which is as important as this one. This is a Jeff Bezos principle. And if you've ever read his shareholder letters, I highly recommend that you do. If you've ever read his shareholder letters, then you know that he ends every single one with, it's day one at Amazon. And it's one of the most important business principles I've ever seen. And what he means by that is that we always behave in this business as if it was day one. It's funny because I was teaching a business planning clinic back in September to a room of about 3,000 people. And I asked everybody, what are some of the things that you did on day one in your real estate business that made you really successful? By the way, I'm going to ask all of you, what are some of the things that you did in day one that made you really successful? I bet y'all followed up with every single lead, didn't you? It was like a person who was like, I might buy 10 years from now. And you were every day, okay, I'm here. I'm going to be here 10 years from now. I got you. Do you have any questions? How can I help? You were following up with every single lead on day one. Yeah, Elias said it. Every lead was the only lead. Yeah, for sure. You were entering everybody into your database, weren't you? You had like 6 people in there, but every time you met someone who was willing to give you their email, you were like, yep, I'm putting you in the database. You're going in there. You didn't ever miss your calls because you only had like 12 of them to make. I bet at every open house, you were putting out all the signs that you could put out. And you were going after every conversation as if it was the last one you were going to have. One of the most important letters I ever read was somebody who asked Jeff Bezos, Jeff, what's day 2 at Amazon? And he said, day 2 is stasis, followed by a slow, painful decline, followed by death. And that is why it's always day 1 at Amazon. Some of you are in day 2 on your business. And I know that because you're not doing what you're supposed to do in order to be successful. You're not doing all the things that made you successful on day one. And if you show up every day in your business as if it were day one, you're going to win. If you do all the things that you did on day one in your business, on day 300 and 10,000, you're going to win. Listen, y'all, I'm just really happy to be here. I'm really happy to be here. And every time I speak, I behave as if it was my first time. I prepare, I put energy to it. I leave it all on the field because I'm so damn grateful that I get to do this for a living. The coolest job ever. And I'm never going to behave as if it was day two. I'm always going to behave as if it was day one. I wonder what your business would look like if you did too. I wonder what you might achieve this year if you did too. Number 7, stay out of other people's business. Just stay out of other people's business. Ask anybody on my team, my most iterated phrase, it's, I don't need to have an opinion on that. They come to me with all the tea of the real estate industry. And they'll be like, what do you think? I'm like, I don't have an opinion on that. I don't need to have an opinion on that. Neither do you. By the way, I don't care what Billy Bob is doing in his real estate business. I don't care. I don't care if the real estate agent that you're working with right now is the worst real estate agent you've ever worked with. I don't care. You're still going to make it the best experience you could possibly make it. Stay out of their business. They want to be the worst they can be. Great. Let them. Just let them. This person who's on your team isn't showing up how they want to show up. Let them. Let them. Stay out of their business. You get to control one person, and that's you. You get to control one person, and that's you. Stay out of other people's business. If their mindset isn't that they're going to have the best year ever, let them. Stay out of their business. Because you got one business to be responsible for. That's yours. And by the way, this funny thing happens when you do that. What do y'all think it is? It's an interesting experience because I ask people a lot, what's a great leader? And people talk a lot about great leaders as it pertains to outward projection. They do this, they do that. But I want y'all to just get an image in your head right now of who a great leader is for you. Could be Elias, could be someone else on your team, could be someone in your family. What's a great leader? A great leader is above all someone who leads themselves. That's who you are attracted to. It's not what they do outwardly, it's how they show up. And as a result of becoming that person, how they make you feel. Because they're showing you what's possible simply by being alive. That's a great leader. So you all, every single one of you on this call could make decisions. I'd love to see this group not only become number one, but I'd also love to see this group known as the best leaders of real estate. That everybody looks at you and says, man, I just love how I feel when I'm around those people because of how they show up for themselves. That's how you become a great leader. You lead you. And in doing so, you inspire other people to do the same. And number 8, spend a year on a problem. Spend a year on a problem. Here's what I mean by that. I get asked a lot. What should I read? What should I learn? What should I? And what usually happens is by the way, no judgment, because I'm like this too. You meet a bunch of smart people and they give you a book recommendation and your reading looks a whole lot like a hometown buffet. Like you're not even reading anything that's clearly trying to fix a problem. You're just reading to read. And then you don't do anything with the information that you read. You close the book and you say, man, that was a really good one. And then you proceed to forget everything that you just read. I know you because I am you. I want y'all to think about or write it in the chat and support each other in this. If you could develop one skill or you could solve one challenge in your life that would have the biggest impact on everything else, what would it be? If you could solve one problem or develop one skill that would have the biggest impact on everything else, I'm not saying there aren't other skills or other problems that need to be solved, but what would have the biggest impact? Throw it in the chat or unmute yourself and share. Self-discipline. Oh man, y'all are popping off in the chat. I haven't been looking at this. I love this. Consistency. Emotional intelligence. I'm going to challenge all of you. Social anxiety. I can give you a bunch of books on that, Louise. Getting over imposter syndrome. That's confidence. By the way you get over imposter syndrome is to just do the thing, because then you realize that you're in a room with a bunch of people who also don't know what they're doing. That's my biggest aha from being in a room with a bunch of successful people. They all have imposter syndrome and nobody knows what they're doing. We're all making this up as we go. Firm routine, not caring about judgment, sticking to my calendar, being intentional. Love all of these. Removing toxic traits, consistency, ego death. Love that. I'm going to challenge all of you to read a book a month only on what you just wrote down. Read a book a month only on just what you wrote down. It's funny, a lot of people give me book recommendations and I just put it on my list for the future if it's not specifically pertaining to what I'm reading right now. I'll tell y'all, everything I'm reading right now is about systems and scale. By the way, that's something I'm already naturally good at. But if I want to get to the next level in my business that is growing very rapidly, I'm going to need to be an absolute assassin master. Yep, love that book, at systems and scale. I need to make sure that nobody else in the industry could even touch how good I am at that. So I'm going to spend a year on that problem. That's the thing that would have the biggest impact on everything else in my life and in my business. So whatever you just wrote down in the chat, I want y'all to make all your reading and growth specifically pertaining on that. Just spend a year on that problem and then see if you end the year with that same problem. My bet is you won't. It'll be the greatest strength that you have. So one more time, y'all. Number one, what's your plan? Set the plan and then stick to the plan. Number two, what's your different list? How do you need to show up differently in order to get different results? Who do you need to be in order to get the results that you want to get? I always laugh when somebody asks me, what's your 5-year plan, Nikki? I'm like, I don't have a freaking clue. I don't know what I'm going to be doing 5 years from now, but I do know who I want to be. And if I can do that, everything else will fall into place. I assure you that. Number three, establish your set points. How do you make sure that you're not going to go backwards? Number four, keep the schedule that needs to be kept in order for you to do what needs to be done. Number five, set your routine. Number six, day one mentality. It's always day one in your business. Number seven, stay out of other people's business. Let them. Let them do whatever they're going to do. Let them say what they're going to say and stay in your business, because there's only one person that you can control. That's you. And spend a year on a problem. Make a decision about what would have the biggest impact on your business and on your life and spend a year just focused on that. Come back to me in December and tell me how you absolutely crushed it. All right, y'all, that's it. I want to make sure that we have time for some questions, which I hope that you'll have, or some takeaways.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go last. Let's get the group to participate, but I definitely know that there's going to be some solid contributions, and then we'll start to wrap sesh right at 26 after. But Demi and Bledsoe, let's go, big dog.
Man, since you said it, you're only a few hours different than the people that you admire a day. Like, that resonated big time. Like, what we do with our time is the most crucial, and only a few hours difference makes a difference. That's super impactful and really easy to apply.
Love that. Yeah, it's just a couple hours, y'all. That's the only difference. It's just a couple hours between you and the life that you want to live. You get to decide.
Yeah, God, I absolutely love this. Kelly Hilker, let's go to you, and then we'll go to Otis next. Kelly, you had your hand up. And if you guys have a contribution, throw your hand up using the reaction button below so I don't miss your hand in case it went up physically. Let's go, Kelly. You're muted.
Okay, I didn't have my hand up, but that's okay. I'll speak.
Oh, I thought you did. Sorry.
No, all good. I loved everything you spoke about today. Super motivating, empowering, inspirational. I wrote down every single thing and plan on applying every single one of these things. I love everything about you. And yeah, thank you so much for being on here.
Love it. Great stuff, Kelly.
My
Great.
pleasure.
Let's go, Otis. Then Keelan, you'll be on deck, and then we'll go Christina, and then we'll end with on two. Let's go, Otis.
Nikki should be selling jewelry as much gems she dropped today. I really appreciated the Jeff Bezos day one and day two. Cortez, me and Cortez talked this morning, and he was like, "Man, you on fire! Like, I don't even think you need this 6 weeks. Like, whatever you're doing is working." And I had to tell him no. Like, even though it seems like it's day one to everyone else, it feels like day two because I'm not doing the A, B, and C, although I'm all the way at Y, W, Y, Z. Like I have to do a lot of stuff in between there. And that's what I've been lacking. That's probably why I'm not doing 20, 30 million in volume because, although I did push through hard last year and it got me through, a lot of breakdowns with my body and my health. But she's right. Like you have to treat every day like it's day one mentality because I don't want to be on a day two. I don't want to be thinking like, okay, I spent all this money. I'm shit out of luck. I need an escrow in 30 days. I want to keep up to the plan, which she said we have to have, which is five a quarter. If as long as we do that, we strive to be, as good as we can possibly be. That's where we'll end up, or we'll end up around there. So, really love everything about Nikki, her energy, and then I mean, wow, like that day one, day two, that shit was like real. I really resonated with that.
Yeah, absolutely love that. You guys, I want you to take yourself back because we've all been here and you all remember how you felt when you made the decision, right? You made a decision to get your real estate license for whatever reason, whether it was monetary gain, impact, influence, whatever it was for you. But remember what you put yourself through. The late nights, the studying, the flashcards, the preparation. Oh my God, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to crush it. Like you had some non-negotiables with your study time and what you were willing to do every single day. And you went in there and passed it. Think about that mentality. That was a day one mentality. And then somewhere along the line, what creeps in is complacency creeps in. I really resonate with the day one. So if you could operate as this fresh sense of what am I going to do right now today as my day one, and you keep that mentality every single day, that's a game changer. So yeah, really good stuff, Otis. Let's go over to Keelan. We'll go to Christina on two, Lisa, and then Vernon, you will be the last contribution based on time. Let's go.
Hey, appreciate coming through and just giving us all the little gems, and your motivation and your energy. It's top notch for sure. But for me, I took if you have anything that you want to work on, just focus on that for the whole year of reading. So like, for example, if you want to generate more leads, you're just reading books to generate more leads. Like you're really going strong at your weak point and honing in on that specifically. That really stood out to me. So I appreciate you for real.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You guys, I want you to imagine this. So I'm just going to go like this really quick. One. Yeah, no, I'm stoked to be here. I wrote down, act like you want to be here. You're in a group coaching session, meaning that you came to this session, you spent the time to what? The hope is to get something from this that's going to inspire you to do something in your life or business. So act like you want to be here. What if I had my light off? What if my camera was off this whole entire time and I was delivering a keynote and something motivational, inspirational, or strategy to you, and this was my fucking presentation the whole entire time? How would that make you feel about me and my desire to want to impact others if I am not showing up and acting like I want to be here? So many great stuff. I'm going to keep cruising on, Nikki. I'm excited. Let's go, Christina, and then we'll go on to Lisa, then Vernon. Jessica, if I have time, I'll get to you because I know that you have something powerful to contribute. Let's go rapid fire, Christina.
Yes, thank you, Nikki. I really liked the number 2 where you said the difference list because I feel like I'm always in this like mindset of, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it's like, I know what I do already. So what do I need to do differently to move my business? So just like I wrote a note down saying minimize my choices because I notice when I don't have to choose or make a decision, it's like I just keep moving. When I have to decide like, what am I doing for dinner? Are we doing this? Are we doing that? And then it just like wastes so much time. And I notice myself getting overwhelmed and frustrated. So if I just kind of eliminated that, I think I could just save so much time and just keep moving. So thank you for sharing that.
It's great aha. Eliminating choices is a great aha for all of you.
I love it. On 2, let's go to you. We'll keep this momentum going.
Nikki, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're coming back because your energy is freaking fire. And Christina actually took mine, also different for me. Because literally when you said that, I was thinking to myself, I need to do the different, and which was getting on the phone with the clients instead of just emailing. And that's the first thing that I'm gonna do when I get out my yoga class at 9:30. So thank you for that. Thank you for the reminder. You're amazing. Can't wait to have you back.
Love it. Love it. Let's go, Lisa, rapid fire. And then Vernon, I think we'll be able to get to you, Jessica. Let's go, Lisa.
Nikki, thank you so much. I saw you once on the Ojo platform. You were amazing. Mine was the set point, because I have gone backwards way too many times. So that was the biggest aha for me. Thank you.
Love it. Great stuff, Lisa. Let's go, Vernon, my co-coach and my partner in crime. Let's go to you.
Hey, Nikki, it's a pleasure to meet you. Elias we were messaging back and forth during your presentation. You are truly a soul sister, and I really appreciate your vibe and your energy. There's a couple of things that you said that really resonates with me, and then there's one thing that I'm going to need you to repeat for me because you were dropping so many gems, girl. I was trying to notate, and then I skipped. So help me out here. First of all, that day one mentality is ill. The direct result of approaching every day like it's day one is pure assassin, right? Like well-oiled machine, samurai type shit. So I'm grateful for a reminder of that. But more importantly, we've been talking about momentum ending 2024 and going into 2025. And you said something that I couldn't quite catch because you spit it so fast. So I'm going to ask you to slow down so I can speed up my listening and then write it down at the same time. One of the most important something about momentum is something about momentum. Is that triggering something?
Yeah, well, one of the most important things about momentum, contrary to what everybody believes, momentum is about going forward. But one of the most important things about momentum is that you don't go backward, right? That's the set points.
Oh, shoot, it was something else. I apologize. It was more so around.
It was recorded. Go back.
Something connected.
This is recorded, so you can go back and watch the recording.
Because I'm not, it was something else. That was a jewel, but there was something that had a little more power and a little more kick that really stood out to me. But I will go back in the recording and figure it out. Thank you.
Appreciate you, big dog. Let's go to Jessica. Jessica, you will be the last contribution.
Okay. Hi, Nikki. Thank you so much for being here. Something that really spoke to me is the fact that I want to sell double the amount of what I sold last year. And I realize I'm not even doing what I was doing last year, which is like posting on social media, hosting my open houses. I haven't hosted an open house in over a month. So, and it's crazy because I was thinking about that the other day. And I was like, if I want to double the amount of sales that I did last year, like I need to get up and do exactly what I was doing last year. Like, it's not just gonna pop up out of nowhere. Like, I'm not just gonna randomly, like, these clients are not just gonna randomly like appear out of nowhere. Like, I need to go look for them the same way that I was looking for them last year.
Well, if you show up exactly how you did last year, you'll get the exact same results that you did last year. So the question is, last year's the set point now, right? I'm not going to go backward from that. But in order to sell double, this is a big mistake. Elias, I'm so sorry, I'm coaching now, if that's okay. But like, no, this is a huge mistake I see so many agents make. Is they say, I want to double my business. So I'm going to do exactly what I did last year, and I'm just going to double my business. It doesn't work that way. You need to do more activities. You'll likely need more leads, and you're going to need to show up differently. So last year's your set point. That's your minimum. And then if you want to double, how do you need to behave in order to double the business? And that's how you show up this year.
Right. Thank you so much. This is really helpful.
And you not posting social media and you not doing the open houses, which got you to your 12, 13, whatever deals you did last year, like that's not serving your business as we move forward. And Kelly, unfortunately, we have no more time for any other contributions. Your hand came up late, but next time. Because I want to tell you how powerful proximity is. This is why I encourage you guys to go to events, get in rooms, meet people like you know, like Nikki and other people in the industry, and make sure that you guys are sharing thoughts and ideas. And listen, I'm relationship rich because of the community, and it will continue to grow. And I'm going to be even, you know, have the opportunity to impact as well as get impacted by the lives of the people that are in around me. And what's great about this is that I continue to grow. I'm going to continue to be a student. When I meet somebody like Nikki, and I feel like that's a soul sister, somebody that can contribute at a very, very high level, that's somebody I want to know. I want to bring them into our world. And you know that I protect the energy of this group, and I protect, you know, who comes on. And so I'm really, really glad that you spent some time here with us, Nikki. We have a saying here that we keep it moving towards our dreams, goals, and vision. And I want that to stay with you guys. All the things that she talked about, when you think about your cause, your purpose, your crusade, and the mission that you're on for your life and business, you're the only person that's standing in the way. You're lying to yourself on some level if you're not where you need to be. And so hopefully this was a checkup from the neck up today. This was an opportunity for you to look inward, you know, have some self-reflection and be like, you know what? She's right. So there's some things that I need to do a little bit differently. She will echo the sentiment that I've said, that Verna said, that other coaches will say, but she says it in a way that is different. And it doesn't always have to come from me. It should be coming from other people. So Nikki, I really appreciate you at a very, very high level. Any closing statements before we end our session?
No, just thank you for the honor of being here, and thank y'all for playing with me today. This was a really fun group, and I appreciate all your questions and your feedback and your liveliness in the chat. You guys got a good group here.
You know what? Love and light to your friends and family that are at your house. Hopefully everything works out for them. And listen, you guys, when you think that you have it really bad, there's people out there that have it a lot worse than you right now. People that are displaced from their families, people that are scared that they might not go back to a home. So remember how good you have it. Be grateful for the opportunities that you have in front of you, for your life, for your health, for your family, and the opportunity to come here and to learn and to grow your mind. So you guys, as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision. Peace.
Peace.